Hey guys, welcome to 11 Months of Tea, and so let's get into it. I have a good list of like 13 different points that I'm going to be touching on today, and I will be talking about how this whole past month with the medication that I'm slightly allergic to is going. So today I just wanted to thank all of the haters previously who commented on my previous posts and stuff, because you guys were the ones who helped me get more publicized. So I wanted to thank you guys, because now I'm able to reach more people in my community and be able to get more exposure. And through that also, I wanted to say, anybody in my community, please do not engage with these types of people. They're exposing themselves, showing that they're not safe to be around, and it's just not worth your time, basically. And these people are commenting, and the fact that they're commenting shows that they're ready to fight you. So they're already riled up and they're ready to start a fight. So you trying to talk sense to them is just not worth your time. Just don't do it. It's gonna waste your energy. You're gonna get angry. You're gonna get frustrated because they're not understanding. They're not here to understand. They're here to challenge us to see if we are going to stay calm in this kind of situation, and show them that we are a toxic community because we're always sitting there trying to pick fights, kind of thing. So just do not engage. Do not interact with these people. It's not worth it. It's not worth your time. It's not worth my time, and I appreciate anybody who did want to try to defend me and stick up for me. You are amazing. I love you. You're spectacular. I just, again, do not engage these people. They're exposing themselves, and it's better for you guys to take note of who's not a safe person to interact with than to kind of ruin your internal peace just because you're trying to talk sense to these people. Obviously, if they're leaving comments on my videos now, they have not taken the time to watch the rest of my videos that I've made and to see the like change and transformation that I have gone through to become who I am now. So I just wanted to like kind of touch on that as like the first thing, and thank you to my new subscribers. I appreciate all 6 of you, and I hope you guys are gonna be able to be helped out through this situation. Sorry, my dog's over there freaking out. She's like rolling around. And so yeah, let's dive into the other points. I'm gonna put like my microphone right here real quick. And so a lot of trans people, for them, the experience of being trans is to wake up and be themselves or basically die. It is a very hard thing for us to kind of confront as a feeling, and the realization of like, I've never been allowed to be myself because I was born in the wrong body, or like something along those lines. It's like, we didn't ask for the body we're in, and because of the difference in our brain, or something in our heart or something, some people it comes from the heart, some come from the brain. For me, I would say it's from the brain. And it's difficult because we sit here and a lot of us are suicidal, depressed, anxious through their whole life because all their experiences are unpleasant and not like what they need, because the fact that everybody sees them a specific way, but that's not everybody addressing who they actually are. So that's where like a lot of our trauma comes from, because it's like, we're trans and people are viewing us wrong because they see us in the physical aspect and they're not acknowledging what's going on inside, kind of thing. So that's where a lot of us kind of get frustrated and angry when people just outwardly assume they know who we are and like what we look like. But once it starts over to the shift and we've had our transformation stage and we now feel more comfortable with ourselves, it gets a lot more secure, because then it's like, okay, now way I feel on the inside is now out on the outside, and people are able to actually see me. So it's kind of like a refreshing thing, and it's like removing the blindfold off almost. So it's I'm still trying to figure out the best way to like explain this kind of thing to like somebody who doesn't know this community, and maybe this is their first video of like watching what a trans person's experience is like. So I'm just here to try to educate everybody and document my transformation because I want to see how I change. And even looking back on like my very first videos in my teens, I have long blonde hair. I'm sitting there talking about hair burst. I'm really flipping awkward. That is for sure. And I mean, there is like a little hint of confidence, but it's because like I like talking in front of a camera and I like being filmed because I know I'm attractive. So, and then also a lot of people coming into the comments and being like, "Oh, you're such a beautiful woman" and stuff. It's like, okay, I don't give a shit what you think my genitals are, because when you're assuming someone's gender and who they are, it's like you're walking around saying, "Oh, hey, what's up, vagina? Oh, hey, what's up, penis?" Like that's basically what it feels like when people sit there and kind of talk about what your gender is, which a lot of us go and get our surgeries and stuff. So it's like, okay, now we have the actual physical aspects of like what a male's genitalia would look like, or what a female's genitalia looks like, or now we have boobs, or no, now we don't have boobs, kind of thing. So it's like you're walking around and you're just sitting there objecting everybody by their meat suit that we're all existing in. And it doesn't feel nice because it feels very matter of fact and materialistic, because it's like, this is the form we are in this life and this is the way we came into this. And yes, we want to go through our transformation so we feel like ourselves, but it's like, why is everybody suppressed by this community that has been around for so long to be what they feel we should be still? It's like, we are allowed to go through transformations. Like, even as a child going through puberty and stuff, children don't really have any hormones in them, and you can even mistaken a boy for a girl a lot of times. So it's like, why does everybody have to go through the puberty, and why is it so, a lot of times it's even frowned upon because people are like, oh, teenagers, they're so hormonal or something, they're so emotional, they're so dramatic or something like that. Like, not a lot of people I know like to interact with teens. I mean, I do know a fair amount of people that also do, because they start understanding things and they start getting what's going on in the world, and it's not usually pleasant. So there's kind of like that as well. And so again, going back to being trans, for a lot of us, it is being alive or not being alive, or like being heavily sedated by medication all the time. And a lot of us don't want to be going to the pharmacy getting these endless line of prescriptions just to be able to function in a daily day existence. And so for a lot of trans people, it's either I transition or I kill myself. And that is a very dramatic outlook. It is kind of painful in some senses to kind of admit that to a lot of us, and myself included. I, up until the point of last year in March, when I admitted to myself that I was trans, I was extremely suicidal. I always wanted to die. This was consistent all through my childhood, and I didn't ever know why. Like, I always wanted to be more like my dad than more like my mom. I liked my emotional side from my mom that I received, but I didn't like the physical aspects of like anything that a female goes through. Like, I don't like the physical body of a female. Like, it doesn't make me feel comfortable. I don't care how attractive I am. I honestly don't want to be attractive, but even going through my transformation, I'm still attractive. Like, there's no way around it. I'm fucking cursed with being attractive, and it's not something I ever asked for. It's just something that I was gifted, and I have really good genes. That's all I can say. And so I've always been the weird, awkward kid in my school. I oftentimes ask why I was never part of the popular crew, because I feel that I was a very attractive child, and like I feel like I could have fit in with the popular kids. But it's also because I wouldn't have fit in with the popular kids because I'm trans, and the popular kids are usually more cisgender people who are very confident in that, and I was never confident in that. I was always the kid that would be like, "Oh, you want to like fight? I'll sock you in the eye." Like I had a very masculine approach even when I was a child. Like you fuck with me, I'll fuck with you kind of thing. Which I mean, some females can have that approach as well, but in my mind, to me, that is a little bit more masculine. That could be um, kind of subjective and categorical, which I'm not really trying to be, but again, I'm trying to explain this to like somebody who's cisgender and who may not be able to address like the fact that everybody can be anything within the wide spectrum of the existence of existing. Like a woman can be very masculine, a man can be very feminine, but just because there's trans people out there that choose to transition, it doesn't mean that they're not trans. It just means that they were they have the wrong type of body. There's a lot of women who are very happy being a masculine woman. There's a lot of men who are very happy being a feminine woman. That's totally valid. That's totally okay. But to each person, their experience of their gender is very personal. And a lot of people can just wake up and be like, okay, I was born with these genitals. I'm okay with the gender that I was assigned at birth. That's fine. But a lot of us aren't, and it just doesn't fit us. Even if a trans person comes out as trans and then they decide, I'm going to act very feminine still, but I want to have a masculine appearance, that just means that they basically would want to have been born male, but then they would have acted more female. Like, that's totally valid. Being trans just basically means that I wish I was born the gender that I now choose to identify as. Um, that's the most simplest way I can try to explain that. If there's any way that anybody else wants to try to talk about their own experience about how it feels for them to be like kind of trans and how it feels for their transition, feel free to leave it in the comments. If you do get negative comments on your comment, just ignore it, please. Just leave the comment there for anybody to be able to read and be able to be like, oh, okay, this is somebody else's take on what it is. So just wanted to mention that you guys are totally welcome to leave comments. Just be aware if you do and you are part of this community, you possibly will get some negative ones. So, and so kind of going back into being trans as well, there is also such thing as what we can call to speak something that my mom identified as, and I identify with it as well, because I am gender fluid. So being two-spirited, I'm going to leave the description right here so you guys can read it. Learn a little bit more about it. You can search it up and try to figure out what it means for anybody. Two-spirited can also be like a Native American term a little bit too, because it means that there's two spirits in one body. And so for me, that makes it slightly complicated because each spirit is a different gender. Technically, for me, it would almost be three-spirited instead of two. So it would also emphasize my gender fluidity, where some days I feel feminine, some days I feel masculine, some days I feel neutral. And each time I change between these, it feels like a different spirit kind of taking the steering wheel kind of thing. And this can also tie in a little bit with multiple personality a little bit too. There is healthy sides of multiple personality too. I want to address it's not all about split, where you have this psychotic side where it wants to destroy and like not work with you. There is a possibility to have multiple personality and be able to have all the sides work together kind of thing. Obviously, it's a process. I have had struggles with it in my past, where a couple of the sides like to go and do stuff on their own and not really address the other ones and ask if it's like okay. I am a lot better about that. This is a weird part of me. I don't really like to share this because of the fact that I feel that I'm going to get very harshly judged on this, and a lot of people just don't understand it. But again, I am open to trying to share it here because of the fact that your trans journey is very personal, and I feel that this could also be something that would be important to share on here because this is a kind of setting of where I share things that I know I'm going to get harshly judged on. So wanted to kind of address on that a little bit too. Not all people who have multiple personality could come out as being trans. Some of the people just deal with it as is, and then it just changes from time to time. Each person that they could have in themselves could also be just all the same gender. For me, there is not a single person or spirit inside of me that is the same gender. It is a female in one, a male in one, and then a non-binary in one. So it gets a little complicated in some senses. So that's where kind of my gender fluidity comes into a little bit. So this is just partially me trying to make sense. Again, I've kind of hit a little bit of a point where I don't really care what people see me as too much anymore because of the fact that I'm getting more and more comfortable with my masculine appearance and how I feel. So if people are mispronouncing me, I just kind of look the other way and I don't really pay attention to them too much because, again, if someone's just going to walk up to me and assume my gender, that shows to me right off the bat they don't have the respect for people to just come up to them and be like, hi, how are you? My name is this, my pronouns is this. What's your name? What's your pronouns? It should be like part of our normal dialect when we interact with somebody new, of just being like, hey, this is me, this is who I am. And pronouns are very personalized to every single person. You can have a very large broad spectrum of different types of pronouns, and I don't know why it is so bothersome for so many people because it's like almost as personalized as your name. So it's like, okay, hi, my name is this, my pronouns are this. It's very personal. We're all different. Not all of us have the same name. I mean, yes, there's probably a billion and two Kims and a billion and two Katies or billion and two Jims out there or something like that. All the common names, but again, each Kim is not going to be the same as each Kim. Same with Jim. There could be a trans Jim over here, and there could be a Jim that's the most masculine Jim of all time who goes to the gym and actually works out. Jim goes to the gym. And so it's very personalized. There's no two people that are going to be the same, and the fact that everybody wants us, or at least a lot of cisgender people who do not understand this experience, they are very judgmental and they don't understand why we need to transition, which is understandable. Some of them could even be jealous because they want to as well. I noticed somebody in the comments before who sounded like I'm gonna say, I apologize if I get your pronouns wrong if you are watching this, didn't sound like, I'm just actually going to switch over to neutral because I don't even know. They just didn't sound like they were comfortable in their pronouns and who they are. And then later on in the comments, I noticed that they mentioned that they eventually might transition over to female. So I was like, okay, so this person's like lashing out in anger because they want to be something else, but they don't feel like it's okay to be who they want to be, which is really sad that a lot of us still are kind of like stuck in that headspace and feeling that we're not going to be accepted for who we are. I just wish that our communities could just be more accepting of the diversity that we all have, and having different people everywhere gives us the ability to have more experience, more things to be able to get done. It gives us more than just like little. And a lot of us shouldn't be kind of suppressed into the cookie cutter kind of thing, is how I should say it. And so I wanted to also address, because I did notice someone talking about my age. I am not in my teens, even though I look like I am. I have very good genes, like I mentioned a little earlier. I am pretty damn close to being 30, so if you're going to subject me into being like the Gen Z, which I know a lot of people shit on them because of the fact that a lot of them can be trans, and they're a lot more accepting of the trans community because we're being a lot more out there about our voices and trying to show who we are and that we're not bad. And it sucks. My age, like, I am not I'm not as young as you think I am. I am part of the generation before Gen Z, so if you were going to sit there and shit on the generation of Gen Z, then you are mistaken, because I am not that young. I look like I am, but I am not. I have been here for quite a long time. I've seen a lot of bullshit, so and I wanted to also give you guys a heads up too for my year anniversary, which I also wanted to mention. The way that I did this year, my year has 13 months in it, not 12, so there's going to be one more after I do 12 months. And when I hit my anniversary, I'm going to be doing some interviews with a couple of my trans friends. I have one trans man who's already gone through his top surgery and is about to get his hysterectomy to remove his uterus. And so I'm going to be interviewing him and asking him like what that process looked like for him, how his experience was, and kind of like touch on that so you guys have a little bit more information, since I'm not that far along in my process. And then I have a trans woman that I'm going to be interviewing too, and kind of let her talk about her experiences as well. And these two people are a married couple, so both of them are trans, and both of them have gone through their own individual transitioning. They're very supportive of each other because both of them are trans. So I wanted to bring that up for once I hit my full year. And so recently, I have also become very uncomfortable with talking with girls. I think it's definitely related to the male puberty, because if I was about where I would be in my male transition, I probably would be a 14-year-old boy right now, and we all know how a lot of 14-year-old boys can be very uncomfortable talking to girls, so that's kind of like where I am a little bit. And there was like one girl at my work that I was debating if I had a crush on her for a little while, but then I decided I don't. And it was very hard to talk to her because I was just like, I like you, I don't want to screw it up. But then something came around later on, and I realized that I'm really not into her. A lot of her opinions and attitudes she has, I'm just like, I don't agree with it. So that crush faded off very fast. So I think she and I could be very good friends, but I'm not very good at being like, hey, you want to hang out as like friends or something, because especially when like a guy asking a girl, like, it always feels like there's some sort of strings attached, you know. So it's a little weird. And I'm sitting here, I'm like way overthinking how the interaction can go, because now women are going to start seeing me more as man. So it's like I'm possibly going to be categorized as like maybe even a cisgender man sometimes, and they're going to be like very uncomfortable with me, because a lot of women are uncomfortable with cisgender men because of the way that they treat them, and they make them feel degraded, and like how men feel that they have the need to own everybody's body. And or at least a lot of cisgender men, not all cisgender men are like that, but a lot of cisgender men, especially the older generations as well. And when it comes to abortion rights as well, where you can see men out there with their signs, and it's like, it's not your body. You have no reason to sit there and talk about what you want to have happen to these women's bodies. You just need to like stand back and let the women take care of it, because they are the only ones that can fix this problem. And that also does include trans men as well, because I mean, if the trans men are still going through the process of transitioning, and eventually they want to take out their uterus, it's like, this is still going to affect you until that may be gone. And even if you don't like get your full bottom surgery, you still do have like a vagina down there. So it's like, this is going to affect you. So you need to be mindful on this and help support. So if it is trans men out there that are saying up with their signs, no, abortions and stuff means like death or something, because women who get pregnant and then have a fetus inside of them and then it dies, if it doesn't get removed, they're going to die too. And that's not fair to the person that's still living. Like, that's basically saying you're not allowed to live just because your fetus died, and it's not your fault, but oh well, it's your problem. And if you do, then you go to jail because of the fact that you tried to save your own life. I mean, if I was in that position, I would want to get it removed, and then I'd just live out my remainder days in jail, which sounds shitty, but I'd rather be alive than be killed by some fetus, you know? And the fact that they think that that's a crime to remove that out of your body, you're choosing your own life. You want the women who didn't do anything possibly to try to get this fetus to die, and you want them to just die because it died? Like, that's not okay. Like, they have the whole ability to have a successful child in the future. They just didn't right then. And the longer you wait in removing that, the more unlikely they are to ever have a successful child. So I just don't agree with how this is going, because women should have the right to their body and have the choice to keep something or get rid of it. And some, I can imagine, if they're a Christian woman, if they wanted to have a child and it dies, my question to you is, what are you going to do? If you don't support abortions, if it's dead inside of you, are you going to let yourself die? I don't understand. So, if you are somebody of that such, please leave a comment down below, because I want to understand and I don't. So, this is me asking for some help, I suppose, in that sense. I don't imagine many Christian women watching this, though, or at least not ones that would support the trans community. So I don't even know if I'll get that comment. So, well, all right. And then I also wanted to mention, there was this person that was on my Facebook, and I didn't really know her, and she left a comment on my profile picture, which my profile pictures have looked very masculine for a very, very long time, even before I've been on T, probably about going on to 3 years now. My photos have all looked very masculine. And so this woman that I have no idea who she is, in her profile picture, she is quite an attractive woman, and she came onto my profile and she was like, oh, really cute and stuff. And I was like, thanks. And she's like, what a beautiful woman. And I'm just like, you should not be assuming my gender. And if you're on my Facebook, you should know very clearly that I'm trans, because I'm very much out on here. And it's very rude and degrading to sit there and assume someone's gender. And I was very I was just trying to explain the situation to her, trying to get her to understand, and she very much did not. She came back and she was like, "Oh, I was just giving you a compliment. You have to accept the compliment. It's a compliment. And I didn't need to give you a compliment. You should accept it." And I'm just like, what kind of manipulative mind game bullshit are you trying to play, lady? Like, no, you are being even more rude now than you were before. I mean, pronouncing me, I just kind of like expect it sometimes, but not on my Facebook usually because everybody on there knows I'm trans, so it was frustrating. And so she made that comment, and I was like, you know what? I'm not putting any more effort into talking with this lady. I got very angry about this because of the fact, not just because she mispronounced me, that was like completely on the back burner, honestly. It was more the fact that she felt the need to try to forcefully ask me to accept a compliment that I know I did not ask for. I didn't ask for her opinion. I didn't ask for her to be there. I didn't want anything to do with her. And she felt the need to give me a compliment and basically shove it down my throat and make me gag on it. And it's like, excuse me, no, I didn't ask for your opinion. I don't care what your opinion is. So get off my Facebook. So I reported her comment and I blocked her. So again, that's another one of those situations where someone's going to try to pick a fight with you. And it's like, none of us have the energy or time to do that, especially with the way our society is going and the silent depression and everything. None of us have the effort to sit here and argue anymore. We need to come together as a team and work together, no matter how different we all are. So that was something frustrating from this past month. I have completely moved on from it emotionally now, but when it first occurred, I was sitting there and I was like, kind of like after you have one of those arguments and you're just thinking of all the cool, nice things you could have said in the argument that would have gotten your point through quicker, but then also would have ramped up the argument even more. So I was sitting there doing that for probably about a week after that because it made me quite angry that she felt she could just shove a compliment down my throat without me even asking for it. So, yeah. So we're going to move on to a little bit more anatomy stuff now. My mustache has been starting to darken more, and I actually had kind of like a little bit of a shadow when it was grown in a little bit more. And through that, I also wanted to mention, be careful when you first start shaving, especially if it's an electric one. You can chop up the edge of your lip, which I'm sure you possibly can see right now. This is very red. I did kind of chop up the top of my lip a little bit when I was shaving because I just rubbed it over my lip. I'm now learning how sensitive lips can be to that kind of stuff, so that's a fun little experience. Just be careful, try not to rub it over the edge of your lip. It's going to chop it up and make it really hard for it to heal. I've put chapstick on it consistently for about 3 or 4 days now. It's starting to get better. I'm able to kind of like pick off the little loose pieces of skin now, but it's taking a bit to heal for sure. And it doesn't look very nice either. It just looks like I have like a lip that's on fire or something. If I put some like lip liner on the outside of my lips and then did that, it would definitely look like I have bigger lips because I'm trying to cover it up or something. But I'm not gonna do that. I don't really care. It doesn't really bother me. So when I have been having kind of the part of the month that would be my period, I've noticed that my discharge changes a little bit, which I think my body has gotten to the point that I don't really get too much discharge throughout the rest of the month anymore. But when it comes to like the time period where my period would be active, I get a lot more discharge, and the color of it is kind of like a neon yellow, which is very unappealing, and I'm just like, what the heck is up with that? That's really gross. And then, of course, I have to do the change in my underwear like 2 times a day. So I'm just like, ugh, here we go. It's whatever. It's not that big of a deal, but it is kind of gross sometimes because it can get crusty if you don't change your underwear as frequently as you should, which is really gross. So, sorry to anybody who didn't want to hear that, but that's kind of like something that happens. And so going into more anatomy stuff, going down here, masturbation. It is feeling a lot more like a male masturbation now, even though it is still going inside of me if it's like kind of penetrative stuff. The way that it almost feels like I'm jerking off instead of like insertion. And that's a very interesting, different change that I've experienced. I like it a lot better. It's a lot more fun than any of the female ones that I've experienced, and I'm kind of having like the top off feeling of when you do ejaculate kind of feeling. And you kind of like ejaculate, you feel like your head's gonna pop kind of feeling, like my face gets like really red or something, and then you get your orgasm basically. And then I've never been able to go very many times because I used to get exhausted very easily when it was just female hormones in me, and whenever it came to masturbation, I could only do like 2 or 3 orgasms and then I'd be like spent basically. This one, more with the masculine orgasms, I can do it like up to 4 or 5 times, and then I'm just like, I could keep going, but I feel satisfied now, so I don't really need to, basically. So that's kind of like that kind of change. Um, Again, the clit is a little bit bigger. When I stand up in front of the mirror now, it looks more like I have something there, especially if I have underwear on. It looks more like I have a little bit of a bulge, which is nice. That definitely helps with my dysphoria. Also, I didn't leave a description about what dysphoria was last time when I mentioned it, so here's a description, definition of what dysphoria is. That's dysphoria, and yeah, it's not the most pleasant thing to feel because it feels like your body is not yours in a sense, like you are in somebody else's body, which can also tie in with two-spiritedness because it could be the spirit walking in and then walking out and then changing roles kind of thing a little bit. But not all trans people are two-spirited. That's just me. That's how I vibe with it. I'm trying to make sense of it and give it words and definitions, even though I don't always feel the need for it. I'm just trying to explain it to you guys and simplify it and make the most sense of it, kind of thing. Um, and so, fun thing about my arms now, they're starting to get a little bit too large for a lot of the sleeve cuts for female shirts. So it's kind of hard for me to wear some of the female shirts that I have now. So I'm going to be giving away and selling a lot of that, and I'm probably going to be doing a yard sale soon and just like selling a bunch of my stuff because I'm just like done with having a lot. I want to have minimal stuff now. I'm not a maximalist anymore. I know I was when I was like a child and like in my teens, and then through my emotional destruction after my mom passed, now I'm just like declutter as much as I can, get rid of as much as I can. I don't need a lot of things. I just want what I need, kind of thing. Um, I just want to be content and happy and know that I'm safe and I can just choose to exist where I want to, kind of thing. Um, and I've experienced more of a tolerance for pain too. Like I smashed my finger in a door, and yes, I did have like the initial reaction of being like, "Oh fuck, my finger," kind of thing. But I didn't cry at all. Like I didn't even feel the need to cry. I didn't even feel it welling up. My face didn't get red or anything for it. If it did get red, it was more just because I was holding my breath because the pain hurt so much. And yeah, I just kind of like turned around and I was like, oh, fuck my finger. And that was basically it. I was just sitting there and I was like watching it starting to swell up. It was like probably about that swollen or so. So it was protruding pretty good, and I could feel like the tightness of the skin on it too because it was like so swollen. So I had to go back and like do an incident report because it was at my work, and then I had to ice it for the rest of my day that I was there. So it was an interesting little experience for sure. I listed on here, whenever people, again, it makes me very uncomfortable when people just assume my gender, because it's like you're walking around just being like, sup vagina, sup penis, what's up, yeah, okay, oh, sup artificial penis kind of thing, sup artificial vagina. It's like, why is that how we address each other? Like, we walk up to them and we're just like, oh, you have certain specific features, you must clearly have this type of genitalia. Like, why are we always addressing our genitalia? It almost feels like. I don't know. It just makes me uncomfortable, because when someone outwardly assumes me as female, it's like I feel like a piece of meat. Like, I feel like I'm not being seen for me, and they just only care about seeing me for the small, little itty bitty weakling that they see me as, because I am skinny, I am small. I have gained some decent amount of weight. I went from being 89 pounds when I started this almost a year ago to being like 115, because I've gained such muscle, and I've never been able to gain weight past 92 pounds. I would fluctuate between 92 and 85 pounds, and I never could break this barrier, and I had been that weight since I was 12 years old. So yes, you can shit on me as much as you want for me being trans, but I feel more healthier than I ever have in my life, and I'm a lot more happier than I ever have been in my life. I am not suicidal. Occasionally, I still get depression because I do miss my mom, and she was my rock, but that's something that comes with grief, and we all gotta work through it eventually, which a lot of people who are my age still have alive parents, but I still have a couple friends that don't. And it really sucks, because you usually don't lose your parents until you're in your 40s, but I'm about 30 and I've lost my parent, and I don't really have many people to relate to, so it's kind of lonely. And I can relate to a lot of older people, and I used to be able to get along a lot better with older people, but the more I see them just sitting there and trying to subject me to a specific type of norm that they want me to be female, it's like, I am not what you think I am, and you're not even taking the time or effort to try to get to know me. And yes, this is a small interaction in public, but you're still being very rude and disrespectful to me because you are not respecting me as a person. So that's just where my frustration comes from when it comes to the mispronouncing. It's not so much the mispronouncing itself, it's more of the disrespect that comes with it. So I've come to the point that I just don't engage or interact with anybody who pronouns me wrong, and if somebody's going to be rude to that, I'm just going to dead off stop talking to them. And I did that. I went into a cafe this past week, and there was an older guy there, and then he was like, oh, she still needs an order, and I was just like, under my breath, I was saying, I am not a fucking female. And so I put my sunglasses back down, I put my hat down, and I just started looking in the other direction. And he started to try to look at me, make eye contact, and I was like, no, I'm not even acknowledging your existence anymore. You were completely rude and disrespectful to me. And I'm here to make my order and leave. I'm not here to interact with your old ass. So that's just where I was at that point, and I just don't appreciate the disrespect that kind of comes along with them. So that kind of covers like everything I have on my list. I'm sure we're probably pretty close to an hour, but I'm gonna still do my injection. I wanted to address as well that the ones that I'm slightly allergic to don't affect me nearly as bad as they did at the beginning of the month, or the end of last month technically. This is probably going to be the last time right now that I will be using this type, because they did say in May the back orders will be all set, and there should be new stuff in, so I'm going to be trying to order the new one of my original normal brand in, and then when I do talk with my doctor again, I will be mentioning to them that I can deal with the effects of this one. It just is not going to be my first choice. And it does swell up, but it doesn't swell up nearly as big. Like when I first did it, it was probably like that big. It would swell out too. And then the next week it was more like this. And then the next week it was more like this. So I think it's just like my body's now got the antibodies to be able to help whatever makes it flare up. And I've also noticed the less that I sit there and itch it, it doesn't flare up as much. Who would have thought? Who would have thought not itching the thing that is itchy is a good idea? I don't know. It is my body, it's my choice. I get to do what I want with it. I am old enough to make my decisions on my own and get my stuff on my own. Again, I'm nearly 30, so guys, get off my back, please. And then I did notice also another conversation, or somebody commenting in my previous video also talking about my liver. I am fine. My liver is totally fine. I keep regular checks on it. And please do not worry about my body. I got it in control. I know what's going on. I know what is up with it, and I know I'm very sensitive to any changes in my body, and I'm very noticeable of it. So if anything happens, I do know, and my liver does get checked like every 6 months because this is part of the procedure with my doctor, just to make sure that I'm still in health and still doing well and nothing is going wrong. So please guys, I am talking with my doctor, doing as I should, and I am still following what I should. So please do not worry about me. I am not somebody who likes to be worried about, so when I see somebody like being concerned in that sense, like, please back off. This is my life. I can do what I need to. I know what I need to do for myself, and I am here to document stuff, so don't worry about me. I'm fine. Kind of thing. So I am still doing like the kind of warm-up thing with these. I think it definitely helps in some senses, because I think just putting it in as is not really helpful. I like it better when it is warm too. It feels a little bit more natural going in, and it doesn't like hurt. And the thing is, with this cyplinate, I can feel a burn effect when it goes in, and for the ethylonate, it's more of like kind of tingling thing, and then sometimes the nerves react to it. So I guess that's the kind of two differences between the two of them. Their chemistry is different, so that's the difference again. And then I think the chemistry main part of it is like the preservative the hormone is in, and that's mainly what it is. So currently I'm just warming it up. My hands are really, really warm, so this is going to warm up relatively fast. And you kind of can put your finger on the bottom to kind of tell if it's warmer. At the moment, I can't really tell because my hands are way too warm. But if your hands are cold and you're doing that and you put your finger on the bottom, you'll be able to tell if it's not, or if it needs more warming, kind of thing. So get my needles. Okay, so we got all that. So I'm probably gonna do my right leg because I'm pretty sure I did my left leg last week. These pants I can't pull up, so I'm gonna be pulling my pants down. I am wearing boxers again. I am a lot more comfortable in boxers now than I am in regular feminine underwear. I have worn like a couple boy shorts here and there, which they still fit okay, but the way that like the boy shorts, when you normally wear it, how it kind of like goes down your leg on the inner sides of your legs, it doesn't really do that anymore because it's now more holding what is going on in my crotch area. So again, kind of giving you the appearance that you look like you got more going on there than you don't. So yeah, this side I did last, so I'm gonna do this side because I don't want to have like 2 itchy spots on one leg within a week kind of thing. So let me clean this up and then we can get to this. And for anyone wondering possibly if I'm gonna cut my hair because I'm trans, no, I am not. I like my hair the way it is because I'm gender fluid, so sometimes I want to have my hair down and look more feminine, sometimes I want to have my hair midway because I'm feeling neutral, and then sometimes I want it fully up because I'm feeling masculine. So if you wanted like an easy telltale of like how to tell how I'm feeling, pay attention to possibly what my hair is doing, but it's always not a guaranteed way of doing it because sometimes I can have my hair fully down and it could just be the end of the day and I'm tired and I want my hair down and I still feel masculine. So it's different, but also if I am changing in my gender fluidity, I will tell you. If I know it's more complicated and difficult for someone to understand, if I am what I am in a specific day, like for my dad specifically, he's having a hard time always getting the pronouns all the time, so like me changing it from day to day would be way too confusing for him. So I would just be like, okay, default to just masculine because right off the bat I like to be seen as a man. And then sometimes my feminine side usually only comes out in personal company, or friends that I know who won't judge me for kind of doing the flips and stuff. And then that's kind of how more I do it. But personal friends and stuff, I would be like, oh, hey, I'm feeling feminine today. And then I'd take like a cute little smiling selfie or something. And so the difference between like me when I'm feeling feminine versus me when I'm masculine is I'll be like a little bit more smiley, I'll be a little bit more flirty, I'll be a little bit more like acting really cute and stuff, and I'll have like even like that guy, that kind of like gay guy way of talking a little bit, or the valley girl kind of speech, and that's kind of how more I talk when I'm feminine feeling. When I'm masculine, I'm very serious, I'm very like stand in my power kind of thing. I wouldn't say standoffish, but I can come across as standoffish sometimes because of my serious approach that I have when I'm masculine feeling. So there's that as well. And then when I'm neutral, it kind of is just like, depends on my mood. I can be very friendly, but I also can be very cold when I'm neutral too. So that one kind of varies between the two of the feelings. But I can see how some people say like, oh, you look a lot more happier when you're feminine. It's because of the fact that I'm just a lot more smiley and flirty when I'm not, when I feel that way. When I'm masculine, I can be like smiley and flirty too. It's just I take more of a stern, like firmer approach. I'm not very jokative when I'm feeling masculine either. It's more of like task oriented and gets things done, so the motivation to get things done. But I mean, this is still subject to change. This is just currently how I kind of like address the differences inside of myself when I'm having the feelings. But again, my masculine side can get pretty flirty and giggly as well too, so it's just, it depends on the day, time to time. Alright, let me just wipe that one more time because I forgot where it was. I think I'm going to do right here actually instead because I think I did that spot previously. Okay, so it's all clean. Hopefully you guys can see what I'm doing. Try to sit back here a little bit more. There we go. Here we go, guys. Alright. Didn't really feel that too much at all. An interesting thing that I'm able to notice a bit more now is you can kind of feel when the needle goes through the first like layer of skin, and so it kind of has like a little bit of like a stick feeling, and then once you get through that, it's just like, ooh, okay, now it's sliding in nice and easily. So that's interesting to kind of have and feel that little bit of a difference. Good. Right. Put this guy away and the papers away. Alrighty, let that kind of sit for a moment. And put this guy in the trash. And there we go. I only got 4 of these guys left, which is not too bad. I'm doing pretty good with making it through my backup supply. And I still have like a decent amount in my backup supply, so I feel like I'm in pretty good shape. So when you're filling up your sharps container, you only want to fill it half full. I know I said that like in the first video, but I'm just mentioning that. Currently, this is only filled up to like about here, so I still have like this much more to go. And then once you do this, you just bring it to, I think it's your dump or something, or even like your pharmacy, and be like, here, I have a disposal of sharps for you guys, and they should take care of it for you. I don't think you have to pay for that. I'm not 100% sure yet, just because I haven't experienced giving in sharps quite yet, but I just wanted to mention that. That's how like your disposal kind of goes. Kind of hoping this is gonna actually scab over soon. Still sitting there, coming back out a little bit. After I do my injection for like usually the next day or so, it's a little sore in the spot that like where I gave my injection. I'm starting to get like a little bit of the burn feeling from this one specifically right now. It's starting to get absorbed into my body kind of thing. So today I actually did it a little bit late. It is Monday. I was trying to do it all yesterday, but yesterday was too crazy, so I didn't have the time. I was literally preoccupied all of the day. I didn't even have a moment to kind of have to myself fully. I did kind of in the morning, but I didn't feel talking to you guys while I had a guest over would be fully appropriate. I feel like I should have been kind of attentive to them, but again, I have currently another guest over right now. They are sleeping, so this is early enough in the day that I'm just able to kind of talk with you guys, but I'm probably gonna go down and wake them up and have some breakfast or do something or another. So yeah, and I'm happy that I was still able to do this within a timely manner. If you guys do miss your injection, try to do it as soon as you possibly can. If it's made it more than halfway through the week, I would say just wait till your next injection date, just because you don't want to like have them too close together. If it's like within the first 2 or 3 days of your week after your injection usually, then I would say still do it. But once you hit like the 3rd or the 4th day, it's kind of like, I don't know if you should. You should probably just wait till your next one, because you don't want to be having them too close together, because that could have negative effects possibly on you. So that was like something my doctors told me as well, so just be aware of that. But yeah, it's pretty much covered everything I wanted to like mention with you guys. And again, thank you to like everybody who helped get my video out there a bit more to help show that we're not alone, and kind of give more education to people about like this kind of world and what we have to go through. It's not pleasant to sit here and have to put an injection into yourself every week. It can be kind of like annoying, it can be taxing, but again, it's kind of like taking a diabetes med to be able to still function and be yourself and be able to exist in this world, is kind of like how I would take the approach to like explaining the importance of this the most to people. Um, so it's just, some people need stuff to be able to exist in this world. Some people don't. I mean, there's even people who are allergic to the sun, and sometimes they need to take like some sort of blocker. Not that I know if they work very well, to just like help them deal with their hives that they get from just being in the sun. So expecting people to not need medications is not really a way of going. Some people just need a little bit extra help to feel like themselves. And we all just need to be accepting that not everybody is the same, and not everybody can be in the cookie cutter thing. But again, a reminder to anybody who will be watching my videos or subscribing in the future, just don't engage with the negative comments. They are there to pick a fight with you. It's not worth your time. Let them make fools of themselves. If they are not willing to educate themselves, maybe somewhere down the line they might come around and actually educate themselves, and then we can all have a decent conversation. But until then, if they're going to be commenting on my videos, I'm 11 months in at this point, guys. Like, I'm not going back. I'm comfortable with who I am, and I'm a lot more confident, and I feel most healthiest I've ever been in my life. So don't let them get you down. They're not upsetting me. It's just they're giving me exposure, and the fact that I was able to hit up to like 2K views on my previous video is like amazing, and I'm able to reach people who are questioning and want to know more about this, and people who actually do support the community and stuff. So that's the part that I'm looking at, not so much the negative stuff. I mean, we're all gonna have haters if we're posting publicly like this, so just be aware of that. Again, just don't engage if it's upsetting you. And I appreciate you trying to reach out and defend me, but I value your peace of mind more than trying to get this person to understand that clearly does not, because they're leaving a comment that's negative on my video. So I appreciate you guys, and I love you all. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys feel like I am touching on things that are important and educating people properly. If there's any misinformation that I give about any of the terms that I have, or anything that I might have a little backwards, or maybe your experience is different, please leave me a comment. I would love to read your comment, especially if it's from somebody in the community. I love seeing you guys' comments. And again, just ignore any negative ones if you do leave a comment. So yeah, and I hope you guys are doing well, and I will be talking with you guys soon. And 12 months is not the last month. There will be a 1 year mark after that. So a funny thing is, if we ran the year as like every month was 4 weeks long, we wouldn't need to do a leap year, and we would also begin and end every month and year even on the same days, because we would end on a Sunday and start on a Saturday, or end on a Saturday, start on a Sunday. I had it backwards. And then that's kind of how your month would also begin and end as well. So that's kind of how I was running this. I think 13-month years would be a lot more interesting and better for us all, but I'm not the one that runs the way we all function, so whatever, I suppose. So one more video, and then you guys will be able to learn a bit more about a trans woman as well, and what somebody who's along the same path that I may be walking may be going through, and what it's like. So thank you guys again for watching. If you guys want to connect on any of my other socials, feel free to reach out. I have them all linked in the description down below. I also will have a little image at the end of my video here for you guys to look at, for us to be able to connect if you wanted to. So thanks again, guys. Give me a thumbs up if you like this. Please hit the subscribe button if you want to keep seeing more. I'm going to be posting to my Buddhist sorcery soon. I need to record the yellow video. Still working on gathering all the information that I need currently. I don't know what the heck happened to this month. It just completely slipped by me, and I was just kind of like, whoa, I thought it was the end of March. Apparently now it's the end of April. What is going on, kind of thing. Alright, but thanks guys again. I love you all, and thanks for your support. I greatly appreciate you. And fun fact, this used to be my dad's shirt when he was my age. It fits me perfectly, so that's awesome. Love y'all.